All righty, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Inside Scoop on Board Gaming. This time, once again, very special guest. I can't say that enough. Very special guest. One of my all-time favorites. One of everybody's all-time favorites. We got the one, the only, Hermann Luttmann.
Hi, everybody. Everybody's not sick of seeing me.
And everyone's like, we've seen this guy. We don't need to tune in. Oh, my God. Mike Anthony, how's it going, my friend?
According to Board Game Geek.
Tony's going to be a special guest one of these days, too. I'm going to try and get him on.
According to Board Game Geek, not that many people are happy with me right now.
Well, maybe I shouldn't have you on. I noticed our views are way down, Herman. I don't know what you're doing out there, but you're pissing everybody off.
I know.
Well, for those of you catching up, we used to have a show on the channel called Board Gaming with Herm, but it became too much for both of us. So we decided
doing every single Thursday, every week, and then there were just too many times of either of us were taking trips and then we had to stop for 2 weeks and everything. So it was just it's just a little more convenient maybe to do it once a month or so. So it's just easier to schedule.
Yeah. So we redesigned everything. And you know, we even talked during our show. Maybe it'd be good to get some other people on and stuff like that. Anyway, so
absolutely.
Instead of just board gaming with Herm and having other people, we decided we're just going to open it up and we're just going to have random dudes that show up and talk to me for like an hour. Speaking of which, everyone, we're only going 1 hour tonight. Right. 1 hour and only 1 hour, because at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7:00 Central Standard Time, head over to Mo's Gaming Table.
Yes.
He's going to be hosting a Whiskey Charlie game of the Long Road with none other than Mark Walker.
Indeed.
And they got a specially designed scenario from Mark, I understand, for that.
Yeah,
so that is going to be super cool. So we're all going to go to 8:00.
We're all supporting each other.
Right. Yeah. So it's instead of our 2 hour episode and keeping people here and missing out over there, we're just going to cut it short tonight. We're going to get down and dirty and get to business right here, right now. Herman, what the hell's been going on? It's been a month. Catch us up. What have you been doing? Nothing? Sitting around? I hear you were at the beach doing nothing.
I'm so bored. Yes, there's nothing going on. Well, for those who don't know, I'm sure everybody knows already, the second edition of A Most Fearful Sacrifice Kickstarter kicked off yesterday. So it's doing very well, and thank you everybody again for your support. And are you trying to bring it up? Is that what you're?
Yeah, I was going to go ahead and link it for everyone.
And just to clarify, because I get this question all the time, it's the exact same game. All the errata has been incorporated into the rule book and the scenario book, and the player aids will be the size they were meant to be from the beginning, which is 11 by 17. Other than that, it's the exact same game. We're just making it available again, updated with the corrections, of course, because we sold out of the first edition so quickly.
There you go. And the cool thing, and I thought this is a great idea, right? And unfortunately, we can't do this for every stinking person. But you guys had or Mark or whoever decided to go ahead and have some early bird special, like the first couple people that got there could get it for like $5.
$5. Yep.
Yeah. So that was super cool and a good gesture, kind of like a thumbs up to I thought it was like a thumbs up, letting everyone know, hey, you guys did so good last time. We're going to offer it again. And as a thank you, we're going to give a couple copies out for $5.
Yeah, and there people were still complained on Board Game Geek about that. It's unbelievable. It doesn't matter what you do.
Right. Well, there it is, folks. Check it out. Kickstarter, A Most Fearful Sacrifice. We're going to be probably
to answer the second question that comes up all the time, there is an upgrade kit if you have the first edition. So there's a $20 kit, I think it is, for the physical books and
give me the paper pledge. Yeah. I think is that what it is? The physical copy of the second edition rules, the scenario book, and the new larger packs. And you must know in the original game to use them. There you go. So, check it out on the Kickstarter. I want to make sure I get it right because you never know nowadays if it's on Kickstarter or one of the other ones.
Or Game Pound, yeah.
So congratulations on that. First of all, awesome game. Okay.
Thank you.
I know nothing about the Civil War. In fact, I own one game of the Civil War, which is Death Valley, and it's still in the shrink. I don't find the Civil War interesting, unfortunately for me. So, but
you don't have to. It's all right.
I need to get on that sometime.
I appreciate guys like Nate Rogers, Gimpy Gamer, and Kev Sharp actually playing the game, and they're not that much into the Civil War either. And they were really kind enough to play through the game and play through it thoroughly, and do nice videos on it. So I do appreciate that.
Awesome, and it looks like it's going pretty good. So hopefully,
we're in our
12 days left, almost 2 weeks. So I'm sure we'll get some more backers before that, and of course
we'll hit some stretch goals. We have the border strips, which people really like. So the border strips are neoprene strips that you lay out to segment off the smaller scenarios. It's just a nice way of, instead of putting out pennies and things like that.
Right.
There's also a new scenario that we're adding that Claude Whalen designed called Meat Attacks, which is the fourth day of Gettysburg. So that's going to be available as a stretch goal. What besides that, I'm not sure. We'll see.
Okay. All right.
And
let's say hi to everyone and just
let me get this out of the way now.
Okay, let's go ahead.
It's not shipping to Europe. It's only shipping to the US and Canada. Shipping to Europe is extremely expensive. There's a lot of bureaucracy to go through, and Flying Pig opted not to offer that with the Kickstarter. It would have cost a couple $100, probably over $200 for the game to do that. So, but the game will be available on the normal European retail resellers, right? The normal people that would resell a
Second Chance and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So it's going to be there.
They're going to have some copies. You're just going to have to wait for them to get shipped.
And if you're talented with the arts and crafts, you can get it for peanuts on a PDF or a print and play and download the whole thing and just build it yourself. Or maybe, I don't know, in Europe, if there's a company like Game Crafters that would build it for you. I don't know. It seems to me like that would be kind of a cool business to run, right? Is building PNPs for people. I don't know.
Absolutely. And I've actually had some of the Flying Pig kits that I purchased myself, and I actually printed them out, and they look awesome. In fact, I could show you a couple of them.
Nice socks.
Thank you. It's so damn cold in the house. So what I decided to do is, I was using the old school tactical. I owned volume 1, and I decided, I was going to get volume 2, but it wasn't out yet. So I decided I would just get the PDF and start printing it out myself. So what I did was I just screenshotted and made this is scenario number 1. So I didn't need the whole board.
Oh, right? Okay.
And then this is for scenario number 2.
That's a clever way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that way, for every scenario, I have my own little map set, and you can see beautiful quality. You just cut and tape them together.
Right.
You couldn't even tell, right? And it's like you said, it's a lot cheaper. So
it's a lot cheaper
if you can do that, and
you can get it in places we don't ship to.
Right. You can get it. You can start working on it, and you can get it. And you can make it look really good. It's just going to take a little bit of effort. And I've been doing this stuff for 35 years. I've been making counters, and so for me, it's really easy to do that. So
right. Some people are really good at doing that kind of stuff, and if you're good at it, then why not PNP it, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So thank you everybody for your support. The Kickstarter will be up like Jester said for I think 2 more weeks or a little less than 2 weeks.
12 days. So 12 days.
12 days.
And we're actually going to have yourself and Mr. Walker on November 5th on the War Room show.
Week from Saturday, right?
Week from Saturday. So it'll be a week from Saturday. So a week from Halloween. And so look forward to checking out talking with you guys then about how the Kickstarter went.
Right.
How the, people received the second edition, and how popular this game is. Really, really popular. People love this game. So
So far, so good. I mean, it's I think its rating is a 9.0 on Board Game Geek so far. So people seem to like it, and I'm very happy and honored that they do.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
we worked hard. The whole crew worked really hard on that for a year. So I'm glad it's paying off.
Right. Awesome. We love it. And of course, I know it's a little early yet, but we're, War Game of the Year 2022. Now that won't come out until next year sometime. So,
Yeah, by then people will have forgotten about it.
oh no, I don't think they're going to forget about it. There's some really good gems that people don't forget about, and I don't think
Somebody
people.
asked, yeah, somebody I forgot to answer. Somebody asked me. I was just on Dan and Art Wolf, and somebody asked, are you concerned about winning the CSR award, or do designers worry about that? And to answer the question now, because I didn't get around to answering it, no, we don't really think. I don't think about it at all, really. I mean, it would be an honor, of course, but it's not why we. That's not why I do this. I mean,
Right.
I'm just a regular gamer dude who just happened to get into designing because I wanted to try to design games a certain way. So,
And and to be honest, let's just say sometimes awards aren't as valuable as actually getting feedback from your loyal fan base. Like
agreed.
you can get much better results from the people you know and you trust and you listen to
Mhm.
telling you and letting you know things than an award
Yeah.
show, because sometimes they aren't.
I occasionally get a private message on Board Game Geek or somewhere else, and somebody will just say, "Hey, I just wanted to say we really enjoyed this game and this and that, and it's just a gem," and that means everything to me. I mean, that keeps me going. Just when after you've dealt with a couple of negative, posts, and you're like, "Oh my God, why am I doing this?"
Mhm,
I'm
mhm.
not becoming independently wealthy from this, or world famous, or anything else like that.
Yeah, I
Why am
seen
I
a
doing
Lamborghini out through the window
it?
there.
That's right. And then it's people that write stuff like that to you that
Right.
really make you feel like, hey, okay, well, that makes me happy that I was able to provide that person with entertainment for 3 hours or whatever.
Right.
So
And
that
I
makes
think correct me if I'm wrong, and I might be, as a designer, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of like as a dad, right? As a dad, I just hope my children grow up to be healthy and well and wise and enjoy life and all that comforting things, right? As a
Right.
game designer, you just want your little baby to grow up and be liked and be loved by everyone. And you don't
Except
really
yes.
care if she wins,
Right.
Miss Tennessee, right? You just care.
Yes. Sometimes the participation trophy is okay as long as they're participating, right?
Right.
But yeah, no, I totally agree, and that goes and I've never designed a game that I felt I was just pumping out, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
here's one, damn it, here, just take these, and just to fulfill a quota of some kind of thing. So every game I do try to take that extra care. I mean, even it's funny because Fred and I were talking about that just the other day. I I spent so much time on Volters Lead the Way and tried to just fidget it and get it exactly right the way I want to and all that, right? And then I was so happy with it. And it hasn't gotten any traction yet. Okay. But again, and then now we're working on this Battle of Königsgrätz for White Dog. And we've played this over and over again for a couple of months now on Tabletop Simulator, and I keep tweaking and adjusting and balancing and all that. We're doing all
Yeah.
this work, and we're looking at each other, going, "Is anybody gonna is anybody gonna buy
Right.
this? I
Does
don't know."
anybody even care? All
Right?
this time, trouble, and effort
Nobody
we
cares.
went through.
Right.
Is anybody even going to care?
But again, if I and somebody writes me and says, "This is the ultimate game on the Battle of Königsgrätz. You made my day. I love this battle, and you hit it perfectly." Well, that will make it all worth it, right?
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
it's
I,
okay.
and it's, everything you say as a game designer, as a YouTuber, I kind of the same way, right?
Right.
I go
Right.
through, I spend a lot of time, trouble, and effort
Hmm.
making videos for people, and you don't hear anything, right? And you don't know, and then you have like a live stream, and you have like 2 people show up, and nobody says anything, and you do this day after day after day, and you start going, "Oh my God, why am I doing all this?
Right.
Why?" And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, I'll get an email from somebody and say, "Oh, you did this," and I was going through, some medical conditions, and I was having insomnia because of the pills I was on,
Right.
and I was watching your show, and your voice, your soothing voice, just made me fall asleep, and I just wanted to let you know. And I was like, wow, right, wow. That I know, crazy, right? But it's true. Oh my gosh! Speaking of some people, we should say hello to.
Dan.
Dan is here.
Dan,
And
the
the
man.
other guy.
That was fun being on with you and Artwolf.
We love it when you go to print and they instantly worry about what to print.
It's funny. Mike said that a few weeks ago on one of our broadcasts. The most terrifying moment is when you get your designer copy of this game that you worked so hard on. You tried to proofread it, and there's this moment of terror when you open it up for the first time, and you're just afraid that something's going to be missing, upside down, just not there. Duplicates of stuff, or the wrong counter sheet. You're just afraid something went wrong somewhere along the line. I'm sure Mike. I think that's what Mike was talking about that one time. It's the most terrifying moment when
I was watching a video today. I can't remember if somebody linked it or not from the Facebook group, or if I just came across it. But it was basically kind of what I talk about on the Inside Scoop and board gaming is kind of the problems with board gaming in general. And there was an errata. Oh no, it was on Mike Anthony. Mike Anthony did a video, and he just got a bunch of games in from Compass.
Yes, I saw that. Yes,
and so towards the end, he opens up one of the boxes and he's going through it, and the first thing on the box is like this little counter sheet, and it says this is an errata to the errata of the counter sheet errata. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This is an errata to the errata. Yes, that's true. I was on Mike Anthony's video. Check it out. And he even said something.
I saw that he put it up.
Jester's going to have a field day with this one.
Right. And thank you everybody who sent their congratulations.
Yes, and I watched your show. Boy, you're getting around the business here. No Enemies Here with Dan and Art Wolf, and that was a great interview that they did. And I noticed they were talking some stuff about some games, and
you mean Dan?
I noticed you had
inquisitive mind.
Yes, they were very inquisitive, and I unfortunately didn't come live.
Down and interrogating me about certain aspects.
Yes, Art Wolf and Dan. They were breaking you down, Herman. I was hoping you would stay strong, but you kept breaking down.
I've since decided that I might as well just let it out, because I mean now I've already lit the match, right?
Right, you've already given it up. You've given up. Now.
So I'll tell you now. So people have been asking for a long time, what else you do with Blind Swords? What are the eras you're getting into, and all that? So I finally had a meeting with the guys at Revolution Games. I told them, look, I'm not going to do any more Blind Swords ACW games, regimental. That regular. There's so many designers now designing in that series. That it's kind of on autopilot now, right? I mean, Steve Carey's designing, Claude's designing, Matt Ward is designing, Jeff Grossman is designing, and there's others that I don't even know about that are in the pipeline. So I think there's like 8 Blind Swords ACW games that are in the pipeline somewhere, right, in various levels of development. So I wrote to Roger and I said, look, it's no sense me doing any more of these. People are doing them. How many, how about I start a new series with you guys? Let's talk about doing something to start a new line of games. And so we've decided we're going to do a line of Napoleonic games, with Blind Swords being the Now, mind you, we're not going to do exactly the way Blind Swords is done because it's a different war, but the essence, the thematic essence of the way I do Blind Swords is going to be the way we do Napoleonics. But the historical chaos that's on the battlefield in the ACW is actually going to be more in the command and control in the Napoleonics. Okay. But it will. So the challenge will be to, Napoleonics are all about column, line, square, right?
Right. Column, line, square. Doesn't matter what game you play. It's 3 words.
People want to see the uniforms. They want to see cuirassier with cuirasses, and they want to see lancers with lances, and they want to see the old guard with the bearskins, and they want to see all that. So the challenge is going to be, and we discussed. I was on a Discord call with Roger and Richard, and we discussed how I wanted to approach this, and we threw some ideas around. So we're going to do it so that you're not going to need to worry about facing and formation, all that kind of stuff. But there's a way we're going to get the tactical feel still in the game, but without all the crunchiness and all the extra mechanics and all the modifiers in there. There's a way to do it. And so that's basically the philosophy of Blind Swords is to get all that immersive feel of the Civil War without an 80-page rule book and 500 charts, right?
Right.
8,000 steps.
Wow, that is awesome. And
that's what we're going to do. Probably next year.
When people find out, they're going to go nuts over this, Herman.
I hope so.
People have been waiting for this forever. Tony's got a good question.
No.
Are we going to? No.
I despise writing orders. There will be orders, but they're not going to be writing orders. I'm going to use probably a system that I use in the Hill of Death, which is the new Civil War game that just came out for Tiny Battle, where you use a card activation system, but the cards have the order that you're giving the unit on them already. So you have to seed your order in ahead of time on the card.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So you're not only committing to this formation, you're also committing to its order ahead of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the battle, I won't say which battle is going to be the first one because it has to be absolutely, but the one I'm working on is a big battle. We're hoping to do big Napoleonic battles, so we can do all the big major hits.
I've been looking for a really good Napoleonic game. I keep trying to get into Napoleonics. I want to get some series, but I'm always feel like I'm late. I'm late to the party, right? Everyone knows about this series. I don't know anything, and I feel like I'm late. If you start a series, then I don't feel like I'm late anymore.
You know what? I totally get that. You
know what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah. I totally get it. It's like people say to me, have you tried GBACW? And I go, no. I mean, I design Civil War games, but I feel like this thing's it's been around so long that if I try to get in there.
Right, exactly.
It's like me trying to play Magic. Like I was thinking about getting into Magic, and I was so overwhelmed and intimidated that I was like, no, I'm not even going to try. It's too much history.
Exactly. That's the way I feel when I talk to people. I feel like such an idiot.
Yeah.
They're naming all these different games in the series, and it goes in one ear and out the other because I don't know. Right. I haven't done any research, and then after I get done talking to Art Wolf or I talked to Matt White about this because he's our other Napoleonic expert over there. And when I talked to him when he was on our channel a couple months ago, everything he said sounded great, but I was like, I have no idea what he just said. I have no idea. I feel like I'm late to the party. So, look, and Richard feels the same way as I do. There's other people out there looking for a brand new series. So,
I'll bet you. I bet you that's one of the problems I'm having with Coin.
Yes.
Like I'm already late to the party.
Yes.
So it's already evolved so much that I can't possibly get in and get it to the ground floor.
You don't have the experience of playing.
You want to grow with the system,
Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5, and seeing the evolution and the differences to the game system. Yes, it is absolutely. And that is actually kind of, on the way home from work today, I was thinking, man, what should our subject of, I don't want to have like a lot of dead time and stuff. And I was thinking maybe how the one advantage, we always talk about board gaming and how war gaming is kind of separate and blah, blah, blah. and I wanted to have something that would relate to you. And the one advantage I would say wargaming has over regular board gaming is in series games.
Mm-hmm.
Regular board gaming doesn't have series games. I mean, there's games that are very similar and have kind of the same kind of mechanics and
depend
stuff.
more on
But
expansion.
there's not really
right?
like a series, let's just say standard combat series from MMP or
Right.
Grand Tactical series from MMP or, Blind Sword System from Hermann Luttmann or, something like that. There's a series. So once you learn a game, you're in. You now can play all the games of the series with minor variations here and there.
Yeah, there's very few exceptions to that rule. I mean, what, Unmatched maybe, right? I mean, I haven't played any of the Unmatched games, but they seem like they're kind of that's a series of different.
I haven't played that one, but yeah, I know what you're. Yeah, I
But
don't
generally,
see
you're right.
series games in regular board gaming like I do in wargaming. Wargaming has that advantage in series.
Regular games do more expansions upon a particular game.
Exactly. Regular games will do, here's our core.
Right.
Now let's expand it and we'll add another board that does this thing. And we'll add this guy that our new boss to fight and our new characters to play.
I always think of Eldritch Horror when I think of that, right? Where they got small expansions, they got large expansions, right?
Right.
It's all feeding off that central board, and it's just kind of, like Talisman and all, they just kind of circulate around the main board. Yeah.
Right, absolutely.
That's a good point. That's interesting.
And Dan and Art Wolf, we got to give them full credit because I mean they pretty much.
Dan did his investigative reporter skills and started
definitely after I watched that episode. I could see, and we had already scheduled to have you come on, and I said, "Wow, he's going to have to now say something because he's let go of the bag."
So the first battle, I'm not going to say exactly what it is. All I can tell you is that it was my favorite Napoleonic battle to game back in the 90s. That it was by Clash of Arms, and my mother actually was born in this town in Germany, and she lived right next to the battlefield when she was a little girl. So,
wow, really?
So I kind of thought of doing it also as a tribute to her. She passed away a couple of years ago, and I said, I should really do a game about this. So,
well, there you go.
That's the plan. That's the plan. So we'll see.
Well, we know it's in Germany, so now.
Yes, you do.
You've already given us clues. You've already given us clues, and there's people already typing Hermann Luttmann's mother in the He's like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said anything.
By the way, I finally found Buffalo Trace if Mo's watching.
There you go.
We drove to Colorado from Tennessee over 2.5 days, and every time we stopped somewhere, whether it was in Wentzville, Missouri, or Hayes, Kansas, I hit the local liquor stores looking for Buffalo Trace, and I found some bottles.
Nice. Speaking of Mo, guys, we are only doing 1 hour tonight from 7 to 8. We'll be closing a little bit before 8 o'clock, so you all can head over to Mo's Gaming Table because we're going to have a special episode with Mark Walker tonight, playing the Long Road. Whiskey Charlie plays the Long Road with Mark Walker. So we don't want to interfere with those guys. We want to support them. So head over to their channel and give them a thumbs up.
Is Gimpy and Kev going to be there too?
Yeah, I believe it's going to be all three of them. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And Mark. So we're looking forward to that at 8 o'clock. So we're going to end about maybe 7:50 or so to let everyone get a chance to get some stuff and head over there. So appreciate your coming out today and giving us some news and catching up with all your big information. So we got the Kickstarter, which is currently going on.
The Hill of Death just shipped, so I hope people enjoy that.
And before that, you had Vultures Lead the Way.
Vultures Lead the Way. I got Plum Island Horror still in the art department. It's been there, I think, 3 months
Herman,
now.
Here's what we're going to have to do. Now, we talked about this, but this is one of my 10 games that I have to play this year. So before December 31st,
prototype kit.
well, I'm going to have to, we're going to have to get on Tabletop Simulator, and we'll have to play a few minutes of it just to wet everyone's whistle.
We could do
as
that.
long as it's before December 31st, we'll be okay. I gotta get it. I added it as part of my
version. It's all play test art and graphics. It looks like crap.
Well, won't they update the tabletop simulator when they finish the
I guess
graphics?
I don't. If they do have a tabletop simulator guy or guys or gals, right, that do that. I'm not. I'm assuming they would.
Hmm.
I'm actually supposed to meet Gene Billingsley next week. So he's in Tennessee. He's actually visiting Luke, who lives in Nashville,
Hmm.
and he's actually got tickets to the Tennessee Kentucky game this Saturday here in town.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Nice.
try to hook up with him and or if he maybe not if he's here. He doesn't have that big of a window of opportunity while he's here,
Right.
but I'll drive out to Nashville and meet him out there. Um, so I will bring this up and ask him. So how much longer do I have to wait for this actually to come out? I mean,
I really thought it was going to be this year. I mean, it's
I
been
did
sitting
too.
there.
I did also, and then I looked at the list of games that are in the art department at GMT. There's like a dozen games in there. So
Yeah, I got it. People are on me about taking a road trip to California, laying down the law. I agree. I agree.
that's right.
Kev is a vampire. Oh, is he playing the vampire side? Oh, I don't know.
Oh,
I know,
cool.
all I know is it's a special scenario tonight, specifically designed for those three people. So that'll be cool to check
That's
it out.
awesome. Well, I'll be tuning in.
Yeah, I will be definitely over there as well. And we like to support everyone that supports our channel and stuff. So
All the good people.
yep, give them hell, right? So it's
I'm
always
trying,
good
I'm
to
trying
have.
to get Dan into some heavy metal, so I'm bringing him along slowly but surely.
That's for sure. Who the Vols play this week?
So the Vols play Kentucky.
Oh, okay. So it's this week. This weekend he's going to be
Yeah.
there.
So
Okay.
for you people who don't know out there, so I'm originally from New York. I've been living in Tennessee for 3 years solid right now, and this whole college football thing was just totally foreign to me, right? So I might have told this story before, but the first time we came down here to scout out the area, I was in a hotel and I see Peyton Manning's uniform in a glass case at the hotel, and I go, "Oh, is that Peyton Manning? Oh, did he play in Tennessee?" And I'm like, I had no clue. And
People were about ready to kill you
you
at that point. Well,
oh
how
my
you
God,
not
they were
know
like,
Peyton Manning?
"What are
Yeah.
you kidding me, you Yankee? What are you?" So
Yeah.
now I'm like totally into it though. It's so much fun. So if you don't know, Tennessee beat Alabama 2 weeks ago, and they're still talking about it on the news. By the way,
That was
this town was berserk.
huge.
So
Huge.
it's a lot of fun, and I see you have your Ohio State shirt, so that's great. They're doing fantastically well too. So
Yeah, but they ain't played anybody. Like every game they play is like 48-9 going into halftime. And
right,
I don't even watch like the second half. So it's
right.
it's
Well,
extremely
what are they
boring.
They're what?
I'm sorry?
What are they ranked now?
2.
Right.
2.
So Tennessee's 3 and 1 is Georgia still, I think,
Yeah.
right?
Georgia's still number 1. Yeah. And Michigan, I think, is 4. So Ohio State plays Penn State this week, and Penn State always gives them trouble in Penn State. So who knows what will happen? But
Yeah.
Ohio State does not look that good. They just,
So
they
that's a lot of fun. That's a fun aspect. What else have I? So besides designing games, so yeah, we're working on the Königsgrätz game, Miracle of Dunkirk. Edmund Hudson, who was the artist for Revolution's new games, he did the map for Dunkirk. He redid it. We talked back and forth. He did a great job with it. So the game's moving along. That should be done by early next year, hopefully. And that one's been in the hopper for like 3 or 4 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we've got a couple of other secret projects that I'm not allowed to talk about. And I know I'm forgetting something.
What have you actually been playing? Have you got anything new? Have you? Part of our show tonight, because the Halloween show, we were going to talk about horror, so we'll get into horror here in a minute. But what have you actually been playing? Have you actually?
I got my game of Hero Quest out here in the back.
That's the one you had told me that you picked up on.
Pick up a painted copy of Hero.
Painted copy,
fully painted with both expansions for $150.
That's sweet. That is a really good deal. He got shoes. Okay.
And so I was just playing it solo. There's an app. They have a special app now that you will play Zargon, who's the bad guy. So it's basically D&D on a board. I mean, one
Right.
person plays the evil guy, and everybody else plays the party that goes through the dungeon. But it looks so
Right.
cool. I don't know if you can see it or not.
Yeah.
It looks so cool on the table. It's all 3D and fully painted and all. It's really cool. I love it.
Nice.
Other than that, I got Space Marine Adventures Doomsday Countdown. So Games Workshop did a bunch of smaller board games with minis that they sell like through Barnes and Noble, right? So it's more of a mass market type of game. But the games are really fun. You have the tile laying, you got to explore, you get your minis, and you run them around, and the game's like super simple to play, but it's so hard. And that for me is the perfect combo, right? I don't have to think too much about rules. I'm thinking about how to beat the game, and I can do it within an hour so that if I get my butt kicked, I can just set it all up again and start
over.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that's what, and I don't know if you can see that game up there on the top shelf. That is one of my Kickstarters I finally got, Agents of Smersh.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah.
Look how big that box is.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge.
So that, believe it or not, that is essentially a James Bond version of Eldritch Horror.
Is it?
Yes.
Wow, I'm gonna have to check that out for sure.
You're running to the different points. You're picking up clues. You're having encounters. It's all pretty simple. The book of stories is like that thick. You just read through the paragraph and you go read. So that's next on my table.
Oh,
so
yeah, looks good. Yeah, I know. After you messaged me that you got it, I was like, okay, I got to find out what this game is.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting ready for the next COVID con, which is in November 10th. So my friend from New York's coming down again, and we're getting together at Mark's house, and we're going to play a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
It's like
I know that Hero Quest. I watched a video actually on yesterday or the day before on Hero Quest, and all the fan-made modules for that game.
Yeah, well, it's been around since the 90s.
Yeah. It was just the title of the video was like 10 games that need to be remade.
Right.
And like number one was like Hero Quest because all these fan-made modules for it and all these, excellent things. And they're like, if they could take the game and add in all these cool things, then that'd be super great.
And I mentioned to you before we got on the broadcast, Renegade Games just bought the rights to a bunch of old Avalon Hill games. Diplomacy, Axis and Allies, Robo Rally, which is one of my favorite all-time games, and Squad Leader. Leader.
Yeah.
The original Squad Leader. Not Advanced Squad Leader.
Right. Not ASL, just Squad Leader.
So you talk about a game like this, which was an Avalon Hill game getting redone. What will they do to Squad Leader, man? That would be really interesting to see
going forward. These companies have been holding on to these licenses and not doing anything with them.
That is possible. But if they're serious about redoing it, how would they modernize it and make it more palatable to the general public, right? And by the way, I think this is a great thing because if you can suck people into playing Squad Leader,
right,
even if they decide to use minis or standees or maybe just huge counters, whatever they do to it to make it more, attractive, good, right? Yes. If you can get the mass market to start playing Squad Leader, that's a big first step, right? I mean,
that is huge. That is huge. If they just try to produce these half-inch counters with monotone graphics on it and crappy maps, it's not going to go anywhere.
To be honest with you, I'm so sick of those top-down building graphics on the Squad Leader. Like every World War II tactical game I see has those same graphics. They all look like Squad Leader.
Right.
Do something different.
Please, for the love of God.
Exactly. So that's a positive for our end of the hobby, certainly, where one of these huge mass market Renegade's a big company. They make the G.I. Joe deck building game, which I bought. It's a great game. And I'm not into G.I. Joe at all. It just looked fun. So I said, what the hell? I'll try it. It's a great game.
Yep. I got it ordered and the expansion, the Cobra.
Yeah, whatever it's called, right. Yeah, whatever. Really well done.
Cobra expansion. I've got that ordered as well because you told me about it, and I'm like, oh, Herman, why do you keep telling me these things?
I know. We all poison each other, right? David Thompson
Right,
told me
right.
about
That's true.
Arctic Scavengers, so I went and bought Arctic Scavengers in the expansion.
Yeah, it is cool. It is.
It is
It's
cool.
a lot of
Yeah.
fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun.
Here's the Normandy is probably the closest thing to a mass market squad level game.
Yeah.
That's been taken off too, which is super cool. That's
and
they
that
got
game.
Heroes of Stalingrad now. They got expansion for that.
Mhm.
They got the second edition of Heroes of Normandy, or not? I guess second printing. Maybe it's not the second edition, but like the second printing of Heroes of Normandy. Sure, it's I think better without minis because you actually see the artwork.
I was just going to say that they did it exactly right because it is attractive, right? It draws you
very
in.
Nice, very nice.
It looks thematic. The iconography is a little tough to get by, but once you get it, it makes it.
It is a two-player game.
Two-player game, yes.
Yeah, it is a two-player game.
There's also a Warhammer 40K version of Heroes of Normandy, which is very good.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Made by the same company, I believe.
Made by the same Devil Pig. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. They had some issues for a while where they weren't fulfilling their Kickstarters, but I think they got past that. I think they were just having a cash flow problem there for a while.
G.I. Joe. You can play it solo, or I think there's a two-player mode. Yeah.
G.I. Joe. You can play cooperatively or solo. Yes.
Yeah. And the solo is really good. I've watched some videos on it, and that's what I would get it for is the solo mode.
Yep.
And it looks really cool. And I'm like Herman. I mean, sure, growing up, I watched some G.I. Joe, but I haven't watched G.I. Joe in 40 years. I don't know any of these people or nothing.
No, it's a lot different than it used to be. It's this whole weird.
Yeah. It's
almost a sci-fi.
It's been modernized for us, I guess. I don't know, but
it's a little tongue in cheek, which I like. It's just these wild things, and for me, if I look at a card and I start laughing, I'm already half in.
Right, exactly. And it's that's a fun one that's just coming out. So looking forward to checking that out.
So Renegade does that. They do the Power Rangers card game, which I'm not interested in, but they do a bunch of stuff. So them getting into the, diplomacy is a war game. Axis and Allies is a war game.
Axis and Allies. I mean, that's kind of like everyone's first war game, right?
It's their.
And I always thought what they ought to do is they ought to make like a little mini travel size Axis and Allies game.
Right.
Little boys would take that on vacation or whatever when they're going on vacation, and then they could just sit there in the car and play it. Right.
Right. It's the first one after Risk, probably.
Right.
Where you go like, oh, I want to play something that's about a real war. Oh, well, this looks exactly like Risk, but it's got cool minis,
Right. Exactly. Right. And now, I mean, they have Axis and Allies D-Day. They have Axis and Allies Pacific. They have Axis and Allies Europe. They have Axis. I mean,
I think there's 15 Axis and Allies.
Yeah. So, I mean, you could make a nice version to get young people involved in wargaming early that would spur them on to maybe becoming game designers like yourself.
Yeah. Anything's possible.
Anything.
Well, maybe not anything.
So, Heroes of Normandy, Stratego. Oh, yeah, I love Stratego too. Absolutely love Stratego.
Is fun.
I mean, people do not realize how much strategy there is in Stratego. There's a lot of strategy and trying to figure out, and a lot of bluffing, Herman. You know about putting bluffing into your games, right? Did you learn that from Stratego, right?
Yeah, I guess I did.
Because there's a lot of
fun.
I know what your unit is there, but then you can mix them up a little bit, and then you're not sure which is it. Oh wait, I know he's got a lieutenant there. Is that lieutenant? Did he move it over there now? Oh shoot, I don't remember. And then you're moving it up. And it's like, oh no, I got to run my guy out of here because his lieutenant's going to kill. There's a lot of. And the spy. That's right, the spy.
Spy, yep.
There's a lot of strategy in winning that game. I'm telling you. Hex to Hex is here as well. Thank you, Hexy.
Hexy.
We're only going to be on for
How much
5
time
to
oh my
6.
God, we only got 5 more
Yeah, I
minutes?
know.
Oh, no.
We're only going to be on about another 5 minutes, folks, because we're ending early. Head over to Mo's Gaming Channel. He's going to be doing at 8 o'clock. He's going to be running a Whiskey Charlie with Mark Walker, and we didn't want to interfere with that. So we're only 1 hour tonight.
Yep.
So if you missed the earlier show, be sure to go back and rewind it. But Herman, why don't you again introduce people to your new project, those that are maybe just joining us and maybe missed it when you first talked about it.
Are you talking about AMFS second edition? Is that the one you're talking about, or the other
The
new one?
Napoleonic.
Oh, okay. There's always new projects, right? Right. So in I don't want to say in theory because that sounds too. We're in initial talks of doing a new Blind Sword series with Revolution Games of Napoleonic Wars.
Yeah.
Napoleonic battles, I should say. So it'll be Mo.
Hey Mo, just so you know, we're stopping in 5 minutes, so everyone
Right.
will be coming over to your show. So
That's
we've
right.
been talking
Dragging
about
everybody who's watching us right now. We're dragging everybody over there.
We're bringing everyone with us. We're all coming over at 8 o'clock. We're only going to be on like another 5 minutes.
Yep. Yeah, so it's going to be a series of Napoleonic battles using blind swords as the thematic model, the same approach to gaming that blind swords is now, but it'll be a slightly different mechanisms because it's a different war, obviously, different priorities. By the way, Jose Faura, who and Martians, don't forget Martians. Jose Faura, who did all the artwork for Most Fearful Sacrifice, is going to be doing the artwork for it. We actually have the map done already for this battle. And his unit pieces look great. If you know what the Most Fearful Sacrifice pieces look like, picture Napoleonic soldiers like that. Beautiful. And that's really important for Napoleon. We talked about that. So, Roger told me, he goes, well, I don't really like figures for non-tactical games. All right, let's put it that way. But in this case, he agreed. Part of the Napoleonic feel are those uniforms and those flags. This is all part of that whole feel that you get out of Napoleonic warfare, and it will have the tactical elements that you expect, but the tactical elements will be done differently, so you don't have to worry about formation and facing and all the nitpicky. You can play if you want that. Go play La Bataille or the million other games that are out there that do that. I don't design to do that. This is going to be fairly easy to play, but you're going to make it's still going to feel like a Napoleonic battle. So, one of the big things about the blind sword system is it's fairly easy to play and it feels like the ACW, right?
Right.
You get that narrative and that immersion. This is going to have the same type of approach.
Well, I'm telling you this right now, Herman. When it comes out, I'm buying it. I'm buying it. I'm buying into my first Napoleonic series because, like I mentioned, I felt like I've been left behind by not getting into any of these other ones, and it's too late for me to jump into them. So I need something new.
And by the way, I think that's a great point you made about that, about wanting to be at the ground floor of a series. That's something that would make a great show, by the way, that discussion. Because I totally agree with you. And like I said before, maybe that's why I can't get into coin. Maybe it's just evolved too fast. I wanted to be at the ground floor and grow with it as it evolved. Right.
There's definitely a moment in like Semenich's 40 series, where it's like, oh, I played the Normandy one, right? So, and I played that a couple times. Now I thought, oh, I could probably, they're coming out with Holland 42 and Stalingrad.
Right.
And I get into those. Well, I played the other one, and boom, I ended up buying these other ones. And I'm like, oh man, this is very similar. I like this. I like how this is.
It's funny you mention him because that system is actually my favorite World War II series or system, right? Because it gets that perfect balance of, man, this is pretty easy to play, but boy, it feels right.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's always the balance you're looking for, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to work too hard to play this game, but I don't want it to feel generic either. So it's that fine line of, man, this feels great. This feels like a World War II Panzer attack, but I'm not rolling the dice 100,000 times.
A million times, right?
Big a million modifiers to get there.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like we
Simulation's
talked
a
about
great
a little bit
example, you're
earlier,
right.
in wargaming, getting it right with series games.
Mm-hmm.
And the only problem is if you're not part of the series and you're trying to jump in the middle of it, it's hard. It is very hard to do that.
Yeah, and that's true with blind
and when I
charge
look
too.
at my collection, I can see, like, when I got Grand Tactical Series, I got a lot of the games in the series because I jumped in and I started getting those games and started learning how to play and getting all this.
And blind swords are the same way. It's evolved. It's grown since Stonewall's Sword. It's gone through its evolution and its growth, and now it's got a series rule book and it's got specific rule books and all that other kind of stuff. And you're right, jumping in at that point could be intimidating, right?
Yeah, very intimidating. Very. I mean,
Yep.
Isn't even somebody I found, speaking of coin, I tried to teach Ruff how to play coin because he's like, oh, I keep hearing you mentioning it. I want to try. And I thought, because I would teach him how to play it. But 5 minutes into it, I could tell it wasn't going to work because I kept using terminology he wasn't familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept telling him things that, oh, you just, you only get to go on this card or the next card, and stuff that's common sense, but you just don't know it until you've experienced it, right? And his brain was like 5 minutes into it, this is like, no, I have.
No, you're absolutely right, because the first game in the series sets your framework, your reference points, right? Then you can grow from that as you go, right? But if you come in the middle, like you said, it's already here,
right?
Whereas when you start in here,
yep,
yeah,
you got so much to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have those experiences. And I've got 10 games. I got 9 of the 10 games in the series.
It's a great idea to do that on the War Room maybe one week.
That's a great topic. Anyways, guys, I want to thank Herman for coming out. I'm sorry we don't have a lot of time to play.
That was fun. It was fun.
But we want to be done before Mark Walker hits it up with Mo's Gaming Table.
And thank you everybody for supporting the second Kickstarter if you did.
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump on that real quick just to let everyone know. Again, here is the link. I will put the link in the chat box for you guys.
Yep.
If you want to just copy and paste that, you can head over to Kickstarter and just do a search for Most Fearful Sacrifice, or follow the link, whichever you want to do. Yep. Be sure to support those who support you. Herman's been a good friend of the channel for
it's fun here.
Almost a year and a half, to almost 2 years. I don't know how long it's been. I have to go back and find out when.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Right. So I appreciate it. And Mark Walker's always been a great fan of the channel. He actually donated a copy of A Most Fearful Sacrifice to our giveaway last year. So we want to support him. He's going to be on Mo's Gaming Table here in about 5 minutes. So head over there. Go make sure you view, subscribe, like, do all this fun stuff. But Herman, thanks for sharing your information.
Thank you very much for having me. I had a blast.
We had a really quick Halloween episode. We had big plans. We were going to do a horror game with you guys.
Yeah.
But that's going to have to wait for another day. But we appreciate you coming out tonight. Thank you, guys. Don't forget Mo's Gaming Table, 8 o'clock. We'll see everyone over there. Until then, take care, everybody.
Thank you.